Yes, Emmanuel.
Yo, what's up?
Alright, I'm here.
Yo, what are you saying?
I'm just calling you right now to get this interview started.
Alright, you recording it?
Yes, I am.
Alright, so the first question is that I wanted to ask you, you put up a quote recently up, and the quote is, there's only two streets, Bay Street and Steele. Can you please go in depth and explain that quote for me?
Well, as you can see, right, I approached that quote to just, explain to people the best way I could of the fact that in the Western civilization, we basically are given two sides. Just like how there's a spectrum, you're only able to choose two sides here. So Bay Street is just the big street, Wall Street people living in Toronto, because I am from Toronto and that's all I can see as of right now. And Steeles Avenue is basically the industrial complex of our city, which has infrastructure of warehouses and people who have blue-collar jobs and who basically distribute the products which we buy today at our Walmart or our Zellers. But Bay Street is where, in fact, the real city is being run, because that's where the central of our city is. And at Bay Street, that's where the corporate white-collar life is being taken place, where big shots all over the city come to the inside the core and produce large amounts of money through computer databases such as the TSX and the Stock Exchange, and different banks such as TD Financial Group, RBC Canada, CIBC, etc. The list goes on. So the difference is of course capital, and the reason why they called it the capital city is because of the fact is that the majority of money in that particular city is being produced there, or that province is being produced there. So where Toronto is a capital city of Ontario, that tells you that Toronto is where the majority of finances, the majority of money is being produced. So if you go into the center of Toronto, that will, logic alone will tell you that that is where the majority of the money is being produced, and that's where you get Bay Street. But outside of the city, of course, is the industrial complex areas such as Steeles Avenue, such as Finch Avenue, and just other streets just like that outside of the city, which have large amounts of warehouses all across Steeles Avenue, all across Finch Avenue, where it produces a whole bunch of products in a wholesale and distributes it coast to coast nationwide. So that's what that whole quote was about, just to explain to people that really don't get yourself confused and wrapped around, what university should I go to, what college I should go to, etc. Just know that there's a spectrum in life, and it applies to everything, and especially it applies to the workforce, and the workforce is simply this. You only have two colors, white and blue. You only have two streets to work on, Bay Street or Steeles Avenue. So the choice is yours.
Wow, exactly. That was great, David. So you told me that you went to Bay Street like last week. Can you please explain to me what you saw there? Like what kind of people you saw there? Like what exactly they were doing?
Yes. In fact, I was at Bay Street myself. I was there on a job interview, and after the job interview, and even before the job interview, I arrived there around 3 o'clock. So I was there at a perfect time to view what I needed to view, and what I'm going to explain to you right now, because 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock is around the rush hour period.
Yeah, where everybody leaves work and school, everyone punches out, yeah?
Exactly. So when I was there, I was seeing middle-class individuals to upper-class individuals in the ages of 21, 30 years old, even to about 50 years old, mostly white-collar, and a couple blue-collar, but you'd only see them on skyscrapers or on high-rise condos working and cleaning the windows. So what you were seeing there was money. large amounts of money. If you were in the same shoes I was, and you were viewing it in a critical, abstract way, all you will see is money, and you'll smell money, because people will be walking out of a very, very, well-known university, which is called the Ted Rogers Business Administration and Management, Ryerson University campus, which is located right on Bay Street and Dundas, right beside the Enos Center. So what I was seeing a very abstract display where I would be seeing the previous generation of white-collar workers coming out of their jobs, out of their placements, and then I would be seeing the next generation leaving their universities, just being prepared to take over the white collars who are going to retire in the next generation. So I was seeing a very huge display of an assembly line of individuals in the white collar bracket who are earning anywhere from $60,000 to about $500,000 to $1 million a year. This is enormous amounts of money here we're talking about. This is enormous amounts of money we're talking here. And the reason why they're making this enormous amount of money is because of the fact is that they, through their education, through their experience, they have realized and they have known that in order for me to make the most amount of money possible, I must get my education and I must work at the place where the most money is being produced, and that is the central of the capital city, and that is Bay Street of Toronto.
Wow.
So by seeing all of that, I've seen not only people just coming out of their placements and their jobs, but I've also been seeing people not even being in a cubicle or being in a 9-to-5 work setting, but in fact taking out their job outside of work and putting it into high-end restaurants and high-end coffee shops, such as Timothy's, such as Starbucks, and the list goes on. So that tells you that their life is built on hard work, wealth, but ultimately freedom to do basically anything they... Exactly. It allows them to basically now not just, sit in a office space or sit in a workplace and allowed and be dictated by a manager, but in fact given the freedom to take their work outside of the workplace and sit comfortably in Timothy's or in Starbucks and have business meetings with their business partners, and the list goes on. But the way that really amazed me was the fact is the setup of how that downtown core is really designed, of how that the previous generation, we're talking about individuals who have graduated or who have got their certificate of work permit in the years of 1980s, 1990s, 1970s, 1960s even, leaving their workplace, leaving their job, and seeing the ones who are currently in school now just in the same type of fashion, in the same type of reality as they are, and being in the same environment as they are. It was just incredibly baffling and incredibly amazing to see that experience and see that display which I've seen at Bay Street, because it really showed me that the people who are truly being successful and truly trying to dominate our system and dominate our society is located at the same place. Either if they're in school or if they already have a job, they're at the same longitude and latitude, and that is the bottom line when it comes down to it. So that's what I've seen, and it's just amazing. And I wish I look forward to being there very soon if I can get that job, and and seeing that more often, because it really does show you how powerful individuals really can become if you're at the right place at the right time.
Exactly. So you told me that you spoke to a banker at a bank before, and he was telling you some very powerful things about finances, money, and school, and how if you try hard and you're persistent enough, you can get a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And can you please go in depth or in detail about what he told you to teach some viewers on finances and things like that?
Okay. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was at the bank, RBC in particular, setting up some accounts for my job in the future, for my tax-free savings account and my checkings going into my savings account, etc. And I basically, finished that process in about, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. The young gentleman, about 26 years old, named Mohammed, he did his job, and and being a man like I am, I basically took the opportunity to not only just go there for what I was supposed to go there, but also try to extract some sort of information which I was burning to know, and that was simply how the bank really in fact works, and what does it really feel like to be behind the desk and watch everybody's money and process everybody's money. And in fact, he told me that it's not hard than the majority of people portray it. It's in fact much easier than you think it is. And even the majority of people, they get really overwhelmed when they don't get the call back from the employer if the job was successfully obtained. But he told me that with the bank department in the bank field, you must persevere in the sense that you must continuously apply, because he told me that when he was 19, 20 years old, he applied more than 40 times until one day they finally gave him a call and they said that, wow, my secretary, because the manager called him in and he said that my secretary seen your resume about 30 times in the past 13 to 14 months, and we had to give you a call because we've seen how in fact serious you were. Because the fact is that when you're trying to get a corporate job, or any job in particular which involves white-collar business where you have to deal with people on a corporate and professional way on a day-to-day basis, it's going to take not only experience, not only work permit, not only degrees, but in fact perseverance in truly accepting that if I want this job, I have to understand that I am competing with individuals such as myself who are trying to get the same position I am and have also been waiting while I was in school for the job that I'm trying to get now. So what's gonna make the outcome different is the effort I put in over the competitors.
Exactly.
So he said that you must continuously apply. And once you can do that, then you'll finally allow the secretary to really see that you're truly serious. Because with these kind of jobs, the secretary really in fact has to look over your resume and really in fact has to look over your credentials and really pinpoint who the right person is for the job. Because for these kind of corporate jobs, there is no such thing as just hiring everybody like there is in the telemarketing field or in the retail field, where they just apply everybody. They don't really look at your resume. They don't really assess you properly. They just apply everybody, and whoever survives the torture in the beginning, they stay.
Exactly.
But with this kind of field of practice, you truly have to show to them that you're not only qualified for the job, but you really want the job. And that's the big difference. And that's the cutting edge which you have to have when you're trying to apply for these jobs. And he later on said that the bank is a very, very good opportunity for young individuals who are seeking to not only work for the bank, but to go to school while working, because the bank is a very powerful business, which exactly a work institution which has a lot of employees, and that will allow you to open up to breathing room to go to school and to practice the fields you wish to pursue. So he said that the bank is very flexible in students' hours going to school and working at the bank. It's a very good opportunity. And I'm telling you, for the viewers, it's a very good opportunity to look into applying to the bank and to work in the bank, because it really does work with your already scheduled lives of going to school and of the commitments with your family and of your religious views and etc. So this is a very great opportunity to look into. And he also, and when I was speaking to him, I was speaking to him for roughly over an hour just after he finished my process with my bank information.
Yeah,
and
so that means he has that time to just sit down and talk to people, to strangers.
Exactly. But nobody really, in fact, he was very, he was very amazed, and he was very clarified that I took the opportunity to not only finish the process with him, but to sit there and continue talking about these kind of subjects, because the majority of people, they could care less. They just want to get their bank statement finished and run off. But he said that me being here and me speaking to him, it's really going to help me in the future, because in life you always have to take the opportunities which are given and learn from them by questioning people. And I told him that the majority of individuals today, the reason why they are very lost in their fields and they're lost in whatever they're doing in life is simply because the fact is that they don't really, in fact, speak to the people who are actually doing that occupation. So when I tell people, if you want to become a nurse, go to a nursing home, go speak to a nurse, right? Go ask her, what is the work ethic of a nurse? How is the stress level of being a nurse? How is the balance of family and work being as a nurse? What's the benefits of being a nurse? You have to really get taught the hands-on of that job from a person who actually works that job. So you could actually learn the emotions of that job, because that person is speaking to you based on that person actually working. Not just apply or ask for the catalogs for all of these universities and colleges and just reading the course outline or reading the course description. That right there will not get you the full picture. It will not allow you to see the full canvas. So what I tell people is, speak to the individuals who are working in your practice, because I personally believe that it's better to do it that way than to learn the hard way and be applied in these course codes, going to university, and then dropping out because of the fact is you do not like the course. But like I said, you learn the hard way. You learn the hard way.
Exactly.
But understand that thousands of dollars is out of your pockets now, and those thousands of dollars is not just thousands of dollars. It's thousands of dollars with interest here.
Exactly.
And that's going to really hurt your pockets. That's going to make you really broke. So understand that when you are dealing with interest loans, you really, really have to be critical of what you are really trying to do. Because once you play with interest loans, that will either make you a very successful person, or it will in fact bring you back 2, 3, 4 years in your life where you're now going to have to work and pay those stuff back.
Exactly.
So really look at the whole canvas and take the time to not only look at these course catalogs and speak to your guidance counselors. Your guidance counselors know nothing. They're just like teachers. They get their teaching degree and then they become guidance counselors. So they know nothing. All they know is how to punch in the course code. So if you really want to understand where jobs really in fact come from, and how to get jobs and what jobs are really like. Speak to the people who are really working the jobs that you are trying to do. Not no guidance counselor who has a teacher's degree just like every other teacher in your school building, and all they know how to do is punch in a course code. So understand that, and don't waste your time going to the guidance counselor, because believe me, they know nothing. Really go speak to the people who are working that job on a day-to-day basis, because it's not only trying to figure out what is the pay, what is the benefits. No, try to understand what is the emotion level, what is the stress level, what is the psychiatric level, what is how are you gonna truly be affected by that job. Really ask the person who works that job, because they are feeling the full result of that job.
Exactly.
So you can truly look at the whole canvas and really understand what you are getting yourself into. Because believe me, I don't want a lot of people just learn the hard way when they're already in that lecture room and they're like, wow, I should have took another course. But like I said, it's too late now, and you're going to have to face the fact that you have been had through your stupidity and through your ignorance.
Exactly. Now, this banker, like, how successful is he? Like, where does he live? What kind of car does he drive? How much does he make a year right now?
Well, as I said earlier, he applied when he was 19 and he got the job when he was 20 years old. And as of right now, he's 26 and he's a bank manager now.
Wow.
So he is the one who controls and is the principal of the bank.
Yeah.
And he started off as a bank teller like everybody else. But in 6 years, he worked his way up, and he started off at $14, $15 an hour like every other bank teller, and now he's making $25 to $30 an hour, which is roughly 55 to 65 grand a year at age 26, and he's living very comfortably because he has no liabilities, he has no children. The only liability he has is his Audi A4 2011 model outside, and he recently just bought a house in Pickering, which is roughly at a price of $500,000, and
wow.
he paid $50,000 down payment, but he got a bank discount on the mortgage and the down payment because he works for the bank.
Yeah, clearly.
So, in saying that, he's living very comfortably. And all he's doing right now is just saving up and allowing his success to one day bring a happy family into the picture. Because I believe that a man has to truly work hard in his life so that one day a happy family can show itself in that picture. Because you can't make a picture before the artwork is not finished. You have to first come up with ideas and then start drawing.
Exactly.
Don't draw the work and then don't make the ideas and then make the ideas after. Make the ideas first and then do the artwork. So in saying that, start really thinking about what you really want to do in your life, and then go to the drawing board and start making it into reality. And then one day you're going to be that person that opens a door to a new home, and you're going to tell your children for the first time, kids, welcome to your new home. Go upstairs and choose your room happily.
Exactly.
So that's what we have today. And once we can finally realize that in this system, we must understand that you must use the system, not let the system use you. And I emphasize that a lot because I tell people in life, every single institution in life is a system. Period.
Exactly.
It institutionalizes you. Period. But learn how to use it. Don't let it use you. Education system, university, colleges. Let you use it, not let it use you, in the sense that you must use it. But how do you use something? You gotta first learn how it works. The majority of people, the reason why they're confused in colleges, they're confused in universities, and the reason why they're becoming bankrupt and losing all their money through these interest loans is because the fact is The colleges and universities are using them, not them using the colleges and universities. And the reason why that's happening is because they don't know how it works.
Yes, exactly.
If you don't know how to use a car, the car is going to use you in the sense that you are now the passenger. Someone's going to drive it for you. And now that driver is going to take the car wherever he wants to take it or wherever she wants to take it. You are just a liability now. You just sit in your car and wait for the authority figure, which is the driver, to take you where you want to go and put the seatbelt when he says or she says to put it on. So in saying that, learn how things work. Once you learn how things work, then you will learn how to use it. Because believe me, all institutions in Western civilization is corrupted. But the only way to understand how it's corrupted and where it's corrupted, that's the big question. Because every system is corrupted. But there's good in every system and there's bad in every system. But in order for you to recognize where the corrupted part is and where the good part is, it takes intellect and it takes reading and studying and really understanding how the damn thing works. Once you understand how the thing works, you will finally use it, and then you'll be a winner. And that's when true business happens. When both individuals, both sides know the game, and they know what they want. This side knows what they want, other side knows what they want, and they know how to play the game. So now good business prevails. But if one is lacking knowledge of the game, then of course the other one is going to have the upper hand and it's going to scam the other one. And that's what you see today in the education system, in the bank system, in the justice system, and everything. The reason why they have the upper hand is because they know how to play the game and you don't. So they're going to use you. You know, like I said, it's like if you don't know how to drive a car, buddy, sit down in that passenger seat and let a driver who has a license drive the car because he knows how to use it. You don't know how to use it.
Exactly.
So once you understand that, then you'll finally realize that I want people to go into colleges or go into universities being the driver, not let the university be the driver, you be the passenger, and let them direct you to bankruptcy or direct you to, sub-zero finances. So wake up and understand where things come from, or you're going to be used, and you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be in a basement apartment with bills after bills after bills because you didn't take care of your homework.
Exactly. That's all going to catch up to you now.
All going to catch up to you because the people who really win in this life are the people who actually understand and know how to play the game. And you can't cheat. You know, cheating are for the people who simply think that they're smart. But in point of fact, there is a divine retribution. There's a divine law on the earth that overshadows everything. So if you think that you can get away with your cheating, you're going against the system, etc., then understand that it's not going to work. It is not going to work. I tell people, even though you think that you can outbeat the system, believe me, you won't. It won't happen. Because the people who you're facing with are the people who have neglected, have exploited, and have tyrannized your family tree since day one. And you know nothing about it. So just sit back and understand that there is no fighting back as an individual. You can only fight back as a collectiveness. And the way I see it, the only way for us to change this system is through education. The only way for us to change this system is for people to start entering the system in higher levels. Government system. We need people to enter the government. Education system. We need people to start entering the education system. Banking system. We need people to start entering the banking system. And how do you enter a system? Through your education.
Yeah, David, hold on about that. Sorry to cut you off, but since we're talking about colleges, universities, and education, I realized that a pattern recently has emerged that all the youth of today are studying the same programs especially the females, like they're all doing the ECE, the sociology, the social work, and then some guys are doing the same programs too. Can you explain why people are doing those programs?
Yes, okay. Can you elaborate on that, please?
I said people are studying the same programs in universities and colleges, Like you see George Brown's one of the most propagandized schools in the city of Toronto.
That's correct.
And you see all the youth of today, especially the black youth, are all studying the same programs. Like they all go to college and university to study social work or sociology or ECE and all that stuff. Can you explain why they do that stuff?
Okay. As you can see, our society, right, is based on a consensus reality. It's based on a consensusship of the people, in the sense that it has started not only from today's society, but has started from day one, in the sense that people always want to fit in. If you go to a grade 2 class, 95% of that class is going to say, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a lawyer, I want to become a teacher. Why? Because they already started to learn the consensus. They already started to learn what everybody accepts as normal, as the norm. So, in today, the majority of females, especially in my personal opinion, I'm speaking this on David Mowa's behalf, that the majority of females, especially in the black community, they are not truly making their own decision of what they truly want to do in this life. They are truly just living based on somebody else's path, somebody else's consensus, and it's the consensus of the society. The fact is that everybody is doing social work, so I'm going to do that. Or everybody's doing early childhood education, so I'm going to do that. And what has happened is that what goes through their mind, Emmanuel, is the fact is they think that just because the majority of people are being accepted to that course, and just because the majority of people are going to that course, that's the successful route.
Yeah.
When in point of fact, it's not even close to being a successful route, because it has nothing to do with finances, period. You're making the same amount of money as a taxi driver that came from India, that was a doctor at one point in their life.
Wow, that's remarkable.
So, once you finally understand that, because like I said, nobody studies, nobody researches, no one does nothing. They just believe that the lane that carries the most people is the most successful people. But in point of fact, that is not true, has never been true, and never will be true. The lane that is the successful lane is the lane which very few men is found. Or very few women is found.
Exactly.
But in order for you to truly take your practice, your field, your expertise to a whole nother level, is by you truly understanding what you are truly gracious and truly passionate about, where you could truly wake up and do it on a day-to-day basis, where money wasn't even in the picture, where you weren't even getting paid, but you're still doing it.
Wow.
That is the real McCoy, that is the real truth, and that is where you will finally understand what you are really in fact supposed to do on this earth. Because if you go along to get along like everybody else and want to do social work just because you talk a lot, just because it says social doesn't mean you're talking a lot, for God's sakes. You're going to be sitting down and you're going to be talking to children, and it's going to be a very pretty schedule. But all I'm trying to tell people is that I have sat down with social workers, and they do not like their job. And the majority of teachers, which I know today personally, they became social workers, and then they realized how terrible it was for them financially. And then they finally realized that this is not the job for me. But what I'm trying to tell people is truly understand what they really, in fact, want to do. I am not trying to say, do it because of the money, No. In my opinion, I could care less about, what financial bracket you want to be in. I could care less. But what I want people to understand is do what you are truly passionate about. So if you're truly, honestly passionate about you know, taking care of children, putting children out of, harsh predicaments and harsh environments, such as what social workers do on a day-to-day basis, then go ahead and, practice that and do it. But understand that, if you are trying to live a life where you are bringing in finances in the same bracket as a lawyer, social work is not a good path to go into. Just because you see everybody going there doesn't mean it's the right one. So open your eyes. I know some people might get their glassy eyes, but really open your damn eyes. Your eyes can open bigger than you're opening them. So it's a very incredible situation in which we have today, and it's based on propaganda, because on all of the buses, on all of the TTC subways, on all of the streetcars, that's all you're seeing. You're seeing the George Brown colleges propagandizing their school with the white-collar individuals being picturized there, and you're seeing all of the catalogs of all the universities and colleges, and you're seeing all the students happy in the pictures, when in point of fact they're not happy. They're just told to be happy. Just don't be deceived. This is a very big system. It's just business, not personal. Don't take it serious.
Wow.
But guys like us, the wise men, we take it serious because we know what's happening. We understand what's going on. We're being manipulated from day one. Not just in education, but in every aspect of life. We have lost our government. We have lost our freedom. We've lost our lives. We've lost our families. We have lost our house. We are now losing our minds. So wake up, understand where this stuff really comes from, before one day you're going to wake up with a family where you can't support, and you're going to be crying, and, I can't save you at that moment.
Yeah, that's when it's way, way, way too late.
That's when it's way, in fact, too late, but what can we do? All I can do is try to teach the young mind and try to teach the young people who are willing to listen. Because I believe that my audience is a very, compressed audience, compressed amount of individuals who are truly willing to listen and really understand that the world of today is not what we think it is. Nothing on this earth works the way you think it is. And until you finally understand that, and until you finally investigate the world system and where things really in fact come from, the more you finally understand that we have been lied to from day one. We have been had. But like I said, if you do not understand how something works, you cannot use it. Period. It's better for you to take the time to understand how it works than it's better for you to take the time to understand how it works than rush and just try to use it and so a problem happens. It's like you not taking the time to go get your G1, go get your driver's license 2, go get your G license, right? And then drive a car properly with your insurance, your car permit, and your sticker on the back that's valid. Do it the right way and understand how the car works, and then drive the car so you can get your destination right. And if you do get pulled over, you can show them the papers and you can get your destination on time and everything will be okay. But if you go in the car and you have no license and you get pulled over, tickets are coming out, money coming out of your pocket, you're going to be in debt. Same thing as school, you're going to be in debt if you do not understand how this thing works. And I tell people, believe me, if you are in school, and now, in going all of this, now I express my views on that. Now, if you are in ECE, early childhood education, or you're in social work, and you are currently in that class, and you are hating it, or you do not like it, or any subject in any school, period, and you do not like the subject, we're talking about post-secondary education here, and you do not like the subject, stay and persevere in that subject until the end. Because if you quit, you have now been scammed. You have lost. It's that simple. Because what has happened is that even though early childhood education and social work makes 25, 30, 35 grand a year, it's better to finish and make that kind of money where you can support your lifestyle and pay back loans than quit and go back to what? Your 10, 25 an hour job and pay your loans in 3, 4 or 5 years. And then when are you going to go back to school then?
Wow.
That's the question there you got to ask yourself. So open up and understand that if you are in school right now, finish the damn thing. Because if you don't finish, you are going to be in some serious trouble. Because that is where the scam is really being played, when people do not finish school. Believe me when I tell you that.
Now, let's say if somebody is listening to our show and they seriously take what we're saying and they want to get away from the collective consensus, how will they go about doing that?
Basically, think for yourself. If all I could say is that if you can watch this or listen to this show right now and understand exactly what I'm saying is actually factual and actually true, then just let yourself know that your mind is still intact. Your mind is still working. But if you look at this stuff like it's nonsense, it's useless, etc., your mind is just completely washed up. All I can do is try to teach the people who are willing to listen. And I believe now the people who are willing to listen are the ones who they are still thinking on their own. This kind of knowledge is for the people who still have their own mind, who still can think for themselves. But if your mind is still washed up and you have no capabilities of thinking for yourself, then I'm sorry. But like I said, if you want to practice getting your mind back, if it's gone, escape reality. And how do you escape reality? Just say no. Say no to all of this tyranny which the school is giving you, which the guidance counselor is giving you, which the teachers are giving you, which all that stuff is giving you. Malcolm X said it the best. There's a difference between being a friend and being friendly. The teachers in your schools are not your friends. They're being friendly. They're not your friends. They're friendly. There's a difference between being a friend and being friendly. Being friendly has something totally different. It's just someone who acts like your friend, but is not your friend. But a friend is somebody who is your friend, in good times and in bad times. So like I said, do not accept what these teachers are telling you, because believe me, they are told by the education system, they are told by their supervisors, by their principals, to enforce certain things in children and in teens and in young adults' heads. Because the majority of individuals in this world, they are trying to escape this kind of reality, but they choose not to, because they know that, they're not getting the proper love. Because once you truly get to the level which I am trying to explain, and which people and individuals such as me is trying to explain, then you will finally feel as an outsider, because you don't fit. Because in this world, if you want to be successful in this world, if you want to be a billionaire, or you want to be a millionaire, and just consequently, look what the word millionaire means, or billionaire. The reason why it's called a millionaire and billionaire is because they are in the air. They're above all of us.
Wow.
That's the real reason why it says air behind millionaire and billionaire. They're in the air above all of the peasants, above all the middle class and all the people in poverty. Understand where this stuff really, in fact, comes from. Because if you want to be successful in this system, you have to truly learn how to be in compliance. It's just that simple. I myself, I have to be in compliance at school. I have to be in compliance in society. Because if you're not, you're going to lose a lot of friends. You're going to lose your job. You're not going to do good in school, and etc. I know having a rebel spirit's good, but do it at the right time. Do it when you have your education. Do it when you have your work permit. Do it when you have your piece of paper, your degree, where no one can take that away from you. Unless you violate it.
Just play dumb then, right?
Yeah, just play dumb. Be in compliance. Period. Whenever the teacher's cracking a joke, laugh. If the teacher gives you a cookie, just take it. It's just that simple. Be in compliance. That's just what it comes down to. That's just what it is. All the bus drivers, every single occupation on this earth, every single individual is in compliance. Just comply. Go to your basketball games, go to your parties, go to your football games, drink your cold beer. Just be in compliance. Just have a good time like everybody else. Just be in compliance. It's that simple. Because if you do not be in compliance, you're going to lose your family, you're going to lose your friends, you're going to lose everything. And if you don't want that to happen, then be in compliance. Play dumb. It's that simple. Because in this society, they don't want people who have an education. You better watch your mouth. Because if you don't, you're going to go to jail. So, that's the society we live in. And if you want to escape this collectiveness, it's a very powerful thing once you do. But it's a very hard task to do it. Because once you do it, because everything which is good has hard times that also attach to it. No pressure, no diamonds. Get it straight.
Exactly.
So once you understand that, then you'll realize that when you are escaping the collectiveness, it's very hard to do that. But once you do that, that's when finally you will find your true self. Because all of the prophets in the Bible and in all these holy scriptures, where did they get their prophecies from God? They went out in the desert by themselves where nobody was there. Not in the town, not in the city, not in their home, but out in the desert. So if you want to find your true self, if you want to find out what you are really supposed to do on this earth, if that's becoming a doctor, if that's becoming a lawyer, etc., what it is, go out in the desert. And once you get your personal prophecy of what you're really supposed to do on this earth, then go from there. But I'm trying to tell you, if you right now are in school, you are in post-secondary education here. We're not talking about high school. We're talking about business. We're talking about commerce education here. We're talking about education which costs money. Period. If you are in school and you are paying thousands of dollars for your education, interest loans here, not loans. We're talking about interest loans. Once you are paying interest loans for your education, finish your course. Because believe me, anybody who tells me, oh, I'm in school, I want to hear I'm graduating. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you're in school. I want to hear you're graduating. Because that is when you have won. But if you just say you're in school, maybe tomorrow you might drop out. Maybe tomorrow you might not finish. But understand that just being in school is not the end to everything. But don't be in school just because everybody else is in school. Be in school because that is where you feel you are supposed to be. And that's the big question. Once you finally get spiritually in tune with the divine, then you will finally understand that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to talk to. These are the people who I'm supposed to be around, etc., etc., etc. But the majority of people are lost because, like I said, we are losing everything. We have lost our government. We have lost our spiritual connection. We have lost our connection with the divine. We have lost our families. We have lost our homes. Now we're losing our minds. But just understand, if you don't want to lose your family, you don't want to lose your family, your friends, be in compliance. Go to the parties with them. Go to the Raptors game. Go to the New York game. Go to the LA game. Drink your cold beer. Eat your nachos. Eat your pretzels. Just have a good time.
Yes.
That's it. Be in compliance. Period. It's just that simple. Because all these teachers are all in compliance. They don't want to go outside the box. They're going to lose their job, lose their salary, lose their check, lose their benefits. And where are they going to pay? How are they going to pay their mortgage? Foreclosures every day happens. But it's for those who don't understand how the system really in fact works. But once you understand how it works, then for the first time you will finally realize that we have been had. This system was designed to break. It wasn't designed to work. It wasn't designed to prosper. The way I look at it right now, we are in 425 AD. That's the time which the Roman Empire fell. The Roman Empire declared in void in 425 AD, where there was no empire. That's that's the time where we're in right now, where America and the Western civilization is falling, and we're seeing it all around us. So, like I said, take care of your family. Take care of your loved ones, because I was watching in the news the other day that there's banks all over Europe which shut down for 12, 13, 14, 16 days. People cannot go to banks. People cannot get their money. You know, bank tellers are losing their jobs. You know, she was crying how I have no pension, I have no money, I have no house. Well, you didn't take care of the problem when you had a chance to.
Wow.
So understand where this stuff really in fact comes from, because if you don't, then one day when you make 35 grand a year and you are doing your early childhood education, and you have 3 children and you can't support them, and they end up going into a wrong path, just understand that you didn't take the time to really understand what in fact you could have done to help them, and it's too late now. So just sit back and let the world take care of your family now. So that's what we have today.
Wow. In every single field, like in every single job, for example, a doctor, or a lawyer, they have their own practice, right?
Yes.
So, explain the idea of practice. Like a family doctor is called a GP, a general practitioner.
Yes.
Explain what that practice would actually mean.
It just basically goes back into the whole concept and reasons of why you're in fact going to university and colleges. You go to university and colleges to simply learn what? The procedures. Why do you think in every single course before you can graduate, what do you have to finish? You have to finish your course placement. Before you can register for graduation in any course, you have to finish your course placement. Why? It's because it has to do with, do you know your procedures or do you not? It goes back to practice, because your job is considered your practice. Because you're so good at it, you went for 4 years, now it's just practice.
Wow.
So once you understand that, then you'll realize that you must, by law, learn the procedures. And once you finish your 4 years of university or your 2 to 3 years of college, you must, by law, write a license exam for your course in order for you to get the license now to practice.
Exactly. So when you're now practicing, that's when all the hard work is done. You've done all the tests, all the exams, you finished your LSAT, and all those drug tests and stuff. Now it's just practice.
Mm-hmm. Because what happens is that universities and colleges are, point of fact, not government institutions. Universities and colleges are private institutions. George Brown is owned by a private individual. York University, University of Toronto, etc. They're owned by private individuals. But you go to those private institutions of learning to learn the procedures. Now once you learn the procedures, now in order for the government to give you a license to work, now you have to do the government exam. That's why there's what? The School of Ontario Nurses, the School of Ontario Doctors, the School of Ontario Law, etc. The list goes on. Because now the government has to issue you the license to practice that field. Because going to University of Toronto is not a government agency, not a government institution. It has to do with commerce here. The people who gave you your universities and your colleges are the same people who gave you all of your systems, and they come out of Europe. Period. University of Toronto, all of these universities are owned by European financial dynasty family, period. But once you finish university and colleges, now in order for you to work in Canada legally, you have to finish the government exam. So now they can issue you a license. It's like you going to get a driver's license. Where do you go to school? You go to school to the private driving schools. You finish the driving school, but now where do you go to get the license? The government issues you the license. So, like I said, that's why some people, they may finish college, university, but the reason why they might not get a job is they might lie to you, say, oh, I've been looking for jobs, but point of fact, they might have not passed the government exam. That's why they don't have a license.
Exactly.
You know, I have family members who, in fact, have diplomas in accounting, but they didn't pass the exam, the government exam, so now they can't work because they don't have the license. It's like passing driving school and not passing the damn G2 test.
Yeah. So you didn't finish the test, now you can't practice, you can't drive.
It's that simple. Everything has to be through the government, right? Everything. But what the institutions of higher learning does, it teaches you the procedures. It prepares you for the government exam. That's all it does. It prepares you for the government exam. It's that simple. But no one can go into the government exam without having the degree, because the government now works with the private-owned universities and say that anybody who's trying to write this exam, pretend, let's say a RN nursing exam, they have to have a degree in nursing. It's that simple. Even though you might be able to finish that exam without having a degree in nursing, but it's a requirement. It's a prerequisite. Go back and understand what a prerequisite is. You don't know what that means. Or go speak to your guidance counselor. That's something they'll actually tell you that's true and they actually know about.
Yeah. The only thing they know about.
That's the only thing they know about, the prerequisites. Oh, you need a prerequisite for this and that, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's the world we live in today. And it's just getting more and more complex, more and more difficult, and as individuals get more ignorant and the world becomes more complex, then that's what we see today.
Wow. And I was going to ask you about a certain topic here. The black youth of today, the black people of today, especially a majority of them, why are they the way they are? They all dress the same, they all talk the same, they all act the same, they all have the same name, you know, they all want to wear the Air Jordans, the Polo Ralph Lauren, the Gucci belts, and like why do they do those kind of things?
Well, as you can see, this has to do with culture, you know, because science itself, you know, once you go into science and actually understand that culture in science terminology simply means that it's a test tube which you grow a microorganism in it. So basically there's the black culture, the Indian culture, the white culture, it's just so forth and so forth. But in Western civilization, you have to be in compliance to the white dominated culture. But every other race has their own culture because that's how they're raised. So what happens is that when the black culture is raised under that, where that's their consensus of wearing Jordans, of having, you know, because once all it is just go on to your cable channel and go through all the channels. What are you going to see? You're going to see white, Caucasian, dominated channels. But then there's just that one channel which they give the black people, and that is what? Black entertainment, BET. And that right there is just telling the black people, that's all you need to know. Here's your channel, this is all you need to know.
Wow.
Just follow this, and that's all you need to know. You know, rap like our people, dress like our people, talk about swag, you know, and etc., etc. So that's how our culture has come into existence. Just about the simple consensus reality of people, because it has to do with culture, it has to do with acceptance, and it has to do with the image which you see yourself in, you know. And That's just what it comes down to. I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to say that every black person is gonna be like this. All I'm trying to say is that that is the mass of the black people. So the majority of black people are gonna act that way because their friends are gonna be all black, and that's their consensus. But if you surround yourself with different individuals, and of course you're gonna manifest their culture. So, like I said, there's always a way to escape hypocrisy and nonsense, and and anything you don't want. But I believe that whatever you put up with, you're gonna get more of. So if you put up with the Jordans, if you put up with the black culture and the music and all that stuff, and the rapping, the Chief Keef, and and the Juicy J, you're gonna get more of it.
Wow.
And people love it, so you're gonna get more of it. You're gonna go to the Rihanna concerts, you're gonna go to the Jay-Z concerts. It's just a big show. It's called theater, the God show.
Wow. Yeah, that word goes back to the Greek. Can you explain what that means, theater?
Okay, in Greek, the term for God is theo, Theo, or
That's
the,
correct.
The. So, in the ancient, okay, now this is just going, we're expanding to other subjects now. So, now, in the ancient Greek world, theater was considered the God show. So they had the Greek philosophers telling the people of the town to come on Sundays, to come and learn about the cosmos, learn about how the world in fact was informed in together, and how it was collaborating together, and how the world in fact worked in the atmosphere and the constellations in the heavens, etc. So it was the God show where you came to learn something. But today, consequently, there is no more theater with the Greek with the Greek philosophers teaching the people, and now it's in fact the church. The church is considered the theater where you go. It's a God show. It's just a show. That's why it's called theater. T-H-E, art. Anything that is art is show. Period.
Wow.
Because art is you drawing something or you performing something, and how do you display your artwork or your visuals? By showing them. So it's a show.
Exactly.
So it's God show. So all of this TBN and Trinity Broadcasting Network, and these Benny Haynes and these Billy Grahams and these Pastor Chris's, it's just a show. The God show. And consequently, we can go to religion right now if you want to. And I was watching this this video the other day about how this PhD student in Dead Sea Scrolls from University of California at Berkeley, if you know where that is. Go on Google Maps if you want to find out where that is. Well, that's a very profound university located in California. And University of California at Berkeley has one full copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls, because Israel preserved 2 copies to America to save the Dead Sea Scrolls just in case anything happens to Israel.
Yeah.
And they sent it to, and the 2 copies right now are in California. One is in University of California, Berkeley, and the other one's at Claremont University in California. So there was a PhD student, and he studied theology, but in particular the Dead Sea Scrolls. And when he was getting his doctorate, right, his doctorate thesis, because to get a PhD, you have to be profoundly well versed in your subject to the point where it does not feel like work. Because when you are a PhD candidate and you are going for a PhD, there's no more classroom, there's no more people there's no more professor. No, it's you going to the library and you researching it on your own, because you are so fascinated about that subject. They give you 2-3 years to basically produce a doctorate thesis, which is a huge, massive portfolio, which you have to present to 6 to 10 different PhDs in that subject which you're trying to get, and they will basically declare you a PhD after that. So his doctorate thesis was on astrotheology of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he basically was the only individual in the whole entire world who ever did a doctorate thesis on astrotheology on the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it was so well done that he got his PhD. So when he got his PhD, he opened his church, he traveled around the world, he was presenting in lectures, etc. And after he finished all of that, all of the study he did, he's like, there's stuff in the Dead Sea Scrolls that the people of the world, they will never, ever, ever see, because the church doesn't want it to be seen, Israel doesn't want it to be seen, etc. They don't want the people to know what is really in fact going on. So he just gave up completely. He just quit. He's like, there's just too much stuff I know, and he said, after all this PhD and all that stuff, I'm just giving up. I'm not a Christian anymore. I gave up on Judaism. I gave up on everything. He's just there's just too much stuff I know. I just gave up on everything, and he just became an alcoholic, a confirmed alcoholic, and he just said, you know what? All I want is just a bottle and a home. That's it. And he came from a wealthy family, so he had a home in California, etc. And while working and while living, he basically said, you know what, I can't just, just be at this home, just be wasting my life. So I'm of course get a job, whatever. So, he ended up getting a job at a liquor store, right? And he's working at the liquor store because it feels like heaven to him, because he gets as much liquor as he wants to go home. It's just incredible, as much liquor as he wants for free and even discounts. So he said that the number one customers in that liquor store was, in point of fact, the Benny Hinn, the John Hughes, and Pastor Chris embassies coming out of the Trinity Broadcast Network, TBN, going there and buying cases after cases after cases of 100 proof, 100% vodka, 100% rum, 100% top of the line whiskey, top of the line alcohol. We're talking about big bucks here. Yeah. Because like I said, the people at TBN, they make millions and hundreds of millions of dollars per month. So that's why they could build great homes, buy yachts and build homes all over the world and just have a good time. Wow. But they are misleading the people so much, it's incredible. And once I heard it, I'm just like, wow, how much the world is really being deceived by all of this lunacy and corruption. And I told my mom this earlier today, because I was preaching to her, I was speaking to her about, some Bible verses that people just don't understand, and Christians are just, not understanding. And I told her that, what if Jesus was what if Jesus was today in our time in flesh form? How many people do you think would be going to worship on Sunday with Jesus? I told my mom, not a lot. It's not going to happen. Because Jesus would have been preaching where the meek are at. He would have been preaching in the bushes. He would have been preaching in the desert. He would have been preaching where the real believers are at. But believe me, the majority of the world would be preaching where? At their huge embassies, which they stay at right now, with their basketball courts and their AC and their huge projectors and, incredible situation.
Commerce here.
It's just business. That's all it is. And the people who are working at TBN, believe me, they know what they are doing. And they know that they're lying to the people, but like I said, that's what we have today. And that's why I try to tell people, use it. Don't let it use you. And I'm saying that even including religion. Use religion. Don't let it use you. But how do you use religion? by knowing how it works, knowing the real story.
Exactly.
It's just that simple. I'm not trying to say that, religion is corrupt and it's bad. Of course it's corrupt and it's bad. Every single thing which man touches is corrupt. Period.
It's human nature.
It's just that simple. Bet your bottom dollar on it. Anything which man corrupts, anything which man touches is corrupt. Period. But it's not going to be fully corrupted. There's going to be good and bad things in everything. But in order for you to understand the good and the bad, you have to have the proper Nathanathal and the psyche to really investigate and really use your intellect and wisdom to pinpoint the good between the bad and extract the good which you need and leave out the bad. But if you don't know how it works, all you're going to do is going to extract the whole damn thing. And the majority of it is going to be bad. But that's the sad thing about it.
Wow.
So I just tell people, by their fruits you shall know them. That's just what it comes down to. Because let me just, this is one of my favorite scriptures. Peter came to Jesus with a seed, and he came to Jesus with a seed, and he asked Jesus, "What is this seed?" And Jesus says, "I am not going to guess what this seed is. Why don't you plant it and water it and see what it comes out to be? If it comes out to be an apple tree, well, it was an apple seed. If it came out to be a mango tree, well, it was a mango seed." So what Jesus later then after that said in the scripture, this is Bible now, I'm not speaking from my head, and the majority of my stuff is coherent to the Bible. And if you don't know what coherent means, honestly, just turn this webcast or this podcast off right now, because you didn't do too well on all your essays in your life. Because if you don't know what coherent means, you failed all your essays. So, and anyways, let me go back to all this. Anyway, so what I was gonna say was, Jesus later on said, after he said the fruit, but what is whatever grows from the seed, that's what the seed is. So after he said that, he's like, well, by their fruits you shall know them. Point of fact, saying that,
wow,
don't listen to what people say. Investigate what they are really doing, who they really are.
Yeah, it's all about the end product.
It's that simple. What are they really doing? So don't put your faith and trust in the people who say, you know what, I'm holy, I go to church every Sunday, I'm a good person. No. What are they really doing? Who are they really? By their fruits you shall know them. And the biggest question is, what is the fruitage of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam? Think about it. That is the big question, and that's the question that I'm going to leave to the viewers to think about, because it is a very huge story. And the story goes back to a lot of ancient stories. Because I have realized that all of these churches, you go to the Roman Catholic Church, or you go to the Mormon Church, or you go to the Pentecostal Church, or you go to the Anglican Church. They all have different views about Jesus. Jesus did this because this, or Jesus did this. And the reason why they have different views is because their history of Jesus and the history of the Bible to them is different in every church. And the Roman Catholics are going to be like, we have the truth. And then the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be like, oh, we have the truth. And then the Mormons are going to be like, oh, we have the truth. And then the Anglican are going to be like, oh, we have the truth. Right? And the Anglican are going to be like, oh, the Roman Catholics don't have the truth. We have the truth. Come to our church.
Yeah, it's going to bring problems and fights and conflict.
But when in point of fact, none of them have the truth. It's just curriculum here. None of them have the truth. If you want to know the real truth about Christianity, go back to the ancient world. Go back to ancient Sumeria. Go back to ancient Babylon. Because the people who gave us our Bibles, who gave us our Holy Scriptures, they know the real truth. That's why they're able to build temples. That's why they're able to build pyramids. That's why their technology was far, far more superior than ours is today. That's why their technologies and their infrastructure and their construction is stuff that we can't even understand or we can't even grasp today.
Exactly.
So they know the real truth. They know the real truth, because how is it that there are temples off the coast of Japan and off the coast of Florida? There is a pyramid on the ocean floor. Where is this technology coming from? Like I said, they are the people who know the real truth. But like I said, the religions of today is totally bankrupt. It's corrupted, and it's being corrupted every single day. Because the people who work at TBN and rack in hundreds and hundreds of $1 million per month, what else are you going to do besides build nice homes, buy yachts, buy cars, drink as much liquor as possible, drink. These guys are and that PhD student who basically was working in the liquor store, he said that the people who work at TBN, and he spoke to the bodyguards too, that the people who work at TBN are profound alcoholics. They come into the store looned out, like they need someone to hold them and stuff.
And they want more.
And they want more because they get the profound, best state-of-the-art alcohol. We're talking about 100% proved vodka. We're talking about once you take the first sip, it's done in you.
Yeah.
Because that is the life which they are living. And like I said, once you finally understand that, do not put your faith in trust whom there is no salvation. And once you finally read and I ask so many Christians, what do you think about the New Testament story of Jesus Christ? The majority of people, Christians, they don't even know. Because at the end of the day, Emmanuel, ask a Christian this. How many times do you go to church? Oh, I go to church every Sunday, and I'll be like, how long you been going to church? Oh, I've been going to church for 40 years. So, you gotta ask yourself, you gotta ask them, you have been going to church for 40 years. Now, I'll tell you what you know. Oh, I just know Jesus died on this day, and he resurrected on this day, and Jesus is this, and just praise Jesus, and that's it. They don't know what Jesus represents. They don't know what Jesus went through. They don't know why Jesus went through. Why he went through the things he went through. They don't know nothing. Imagine you going to school for 40 years and coming out and don't know nothing. That's a terrible school. Is that going to be a terrible school? That's going to be profoundly terrible. If you go to school for 40 years and all you know is Jesus did this, or I praise Jesus and that's it, that's profound. But once you finally read the New Testament story, I am not trying to, knock any people down. All I'm trying to say is for Christians to really get the damn story right. Because the Bible is an encoded message. It's an encoded story. Period.
Yes. Because
there's a book that young people and adults and parents teach children. It's called Esau's Fable, where there was a story that taught children morals and values in life. And there was a story in Esau's Fable where there was the turtle versus the rabbit.
And there's a message behind the message.
Exactly. And the rabbit ran fast and stopped in front of the finish line and didn't cross the finish line and fell asleep. And the turtle walked slowly and eventually passed by the rabbit while the rabbit was sleeping, and the turtle won the race. Telling the child that even though you're fast, you may not win the race. So even though you're handsome and you're rich and you're wealthy and you come from a very financial background and family, maybe tomorrow you might get in an accident, you might get in an auto wreck. And that person who is an old man and who's worked hard and has a diligent hand and has a loving family, has a lot of friends, he lives till 90 and you only live to 30.
Wow.
Those in saying that there's a message behind the message. So in saying that just because you're fast doesn't mean you're going to win the race. So once you understand that, then you'll realize that in the Bible there is a message behind the message. And once you finally read the New Testament story of Jesus Christ, and I ask Christians this every single day, and they just give me glassy eyes because they don't know what the heck the New Testament story of Jesus Christ really in fact means. The story of Jesus Christ in the New Testament is nothing more. I could put it in one word, because once you finally read it and you understand what it really means, the best word to put the New Testament story of Jesus is, point of fact, a redemption story. But how many Christians know what redemption even means?
None, probably.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's just a redemption story. It's the redemption of Jesus Christ over the darkness. It's the longest and greatest and oldest story the world has ever known. The story between the light and the darkness. 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. It's just that simple. The story between black light and white light. Between Lucifer, between the sun. But Lucifer was in fact Jesus himself. In Revelation, because a lot of Christians are, Lucifer is the devil, and Lucifer is Satan. Well, in point of fact, in the Bible it says in Revelation that Lucifer is Jesus. Because if you understand what Lucifer really means, Lucifer is Venus, the light bringer. And what is Jesus? The light bringer of the world. Understand what things come from, but nobody reads, no one understands nothing. All they do is they believe. Because what I've realized, Lana Cantrell said it, oh my, I have to give props, I have to give recognition, I have to give, honorary awards to that woman, Lana Cantrell, for her book, The Greatest Story Never Told. That book is profoundly filled with information that Christians really need to study. Because she said that people believe not because they're scared and not because they have no faith, it's because they do not understand. If you do not understand, you have no choice but to just believe.
Exactly.
It's that simple. But I tell people that nothing on this earth came out of a vacuum. It has evolved. Today we have Maserati, but in 1900s we had Ford cars, which 2 doors, no seatbelts. Now we have Maserati.
Ferrari.
Exactly. Things don't just come out of a vacuum. They evolve.
Exactly.
Everything in this world evolves, even religion. And once you understand that, then you'll realize. But the story of Jesus in the New Testament is nothing more but the story of redemption. Period. Jesus is redeeming the greatest war on this earth, and that's between light and darkness. Jesus is just trying to redeem the light back on this earth because there is no light. There's just darkness.
Exactly.
So it's a redemption story. It's just that simple. Yeah. And once you finally understand that, then you'll realize that not just reading scriptures and no, it's about redemption. Period. And if you don't know what that means, that basically means going against all odds, going against the system, going against the darkness.
Yeah, and coming back.
Exactly. Because this world is in darkness. Period. And if people can really understand that, and understand that King Solomon said the best, where there's no vision, the people will perish. It's just that simple. And vision is simply seeing without your eyes, seeing with your wisdom, with your knowledge. It's that simple. And people must also understand, do not get confused between the fact that wisdom and knowledge is the same thing. In point of fact, it's not the same thing. Knowledge is practical. Knowledge is science. Wisdom, on the other hand, wisdom is spiritual knowledge. That's wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge at a higher dimension. Knowledge is practical, where it involves science. It involves today's society, where you have to have knowledge, you have to have practice. Exactly. But wisdom is spiritual knowledge. It allows you to go to a higher dimension, which Jesus and the majority of individual were. But we're talking about astrotheology here. We're talking about religion. Every single religion on this earth is astrotheology, period. And astrotheology is the religion of heaven, of God's heaven, the constellation. Because God is extraterrestrial. You know, if God was conceived in Cleveland, Ohio, or Portland, Oregon, then he's terrestrial. But if you put EX in front of anything, what does that mean? It's outside of it. You know, that's where you get exterior. Exterior is outside of a car. You get interior, it's inside of a car. Words and terms here. So, God is what's called? God is, he's external. He's outside of the earth. He was not conceived here. So once you finally understand that, then you'll finally realize that we are truly being deceived, not only as individuals, but as a mass of people. And we must truly, truly wake up. Because if we do not, there's going to come a time where all of this stuff which we see today, that we should take granted for, not going to be here. But understand how this stuff really, in fact, works. Because these guys are making lots and lots of money. And all you must do is just, you know, if you really want to understand how the world really is being run right now, just go onto commerce websites and commerce TV broadcasting channels, and it will show you how commerce in fact works. They will speak to you for there's news on just commerce, not just news on the city action. No, talking about commerce
now, here. David, speaking of commerce and money and stuff like this, so how do pastors and people that you see on TV, like on those big stations and networks that you mentioned before?
TBN.
Yeah, exactly. People like Joel Osteen, Benny Hinn, and Pastor Chris claim that they know the truth and that they're divine and that they can heal people, but in fact, they're deceiving people. How do they do this without feeling the guilt or without having like a bad conscience, or just like, I don't know how they do this?
Okay, what one must understand that it's just business, and what people must truly understand is that CEOs and anyone who's making a lot of money, right, you are basically trapped in the sense that Benny Hinn, Pastor Chris, Joel Osteen, I'm not condemning just them. Every individual who makes a lot of money in this world, they have to sign contracts by investors, and that contract states that they have to pay back money. So even though these evangelists, these tele-evangelists, tele just basically means broadcasting on television, and evangelist simply means someone who speaks the word of God, or the word of the Bible. So, in saying that these tele-evangelists, they basically are in serious debt, even though they have $50 million network and they bring in hundreds of millions of dollars a month, they still have to pay back the investors who make their company run, because it's a company, you know. Yeah. Christ Embassy, that's a company, it's incorporated. Yeah. So and they sell Bibles, they sell their own papers and Rhapsody, and they sell their own King James Bible, all that stuff. So it's a corporation. So when you are a corporation, you have investors who have shares in your corporation. So you have to do well. Because if you don't do well, then people are not going to invest in your company. Because they believe that their stocks that they invest in your company is not going to increase. So they're not going to invest in your company. They might as well take their money out and invest in Google or something like that. So you must perform at high levels. And how news broadcasting really in fact works is that when you become a news broadcaster, they basically give you a contract where they say that you basically have to follow exactly what is on the teleprompt. Whatever's on the screen, you have the teleprompter. You have to say exactly what's on the screen. If you do not, you're going to jail. If you say any of your views, anything, even Jordan Maxwell, he said in one of his videos that he was in fact given a news broadcasting job where he would get paid a lot of money. You know, he'll be a celebrity, he'll be in the public eye, etc. But if he ever says anything on his personal views, he's going to jail. Period. He's going to jail. So in saying that, it's the same thing with these evangelists, etc. If they say anything out of the ordinary that they're not supposed to say, they're going to jail. Because believe me, the people who finance Pastor Chris and actually put him on that damn stage, they signed huge contracts with him, and if he does not say what he's supposed to say, he's going to jail. Right.
Wow.
And that's why I tell people the real truth is the people who are out on the streets. The real truth is the people who are out with the meek, with the poor people, like Martin Luther King, etc., who don't have to open no damn corporation. You think Martin Luther King opened a corporation? No.
Wow.
There's no need to open a corporation. But once you open a corporation, that's where it gets more evil, because now you have people to invest in your stocks, and now they control you. You don't control anything anymore. Because now they are the ones who supply they're the ones who pay you. They're the ones who keep the company going. So now later you'll find out that you don't own the company. They own the company. And now you are in compliance. Not you are in compliance, not them. They're the boss, not you. You know, like if you're working at Sears, right? When you go there, they own you for that 8 hours that you're there. You know, they tell you when to eat, they tell you when to go pick up the damn shelves, they tell you when to go take a bathroom break. They give you liberty, right? They're the boss, not you. So be in compliance, dummy.
Yeah.
Or go find another job. But if you work for Sears and then you go out to let's say Walmart, right? Walmart has no control of you because you work for a different company. You work for a different corporation. So that's the same thing with these evangelists. If they go out to a different church, right, they can say whatever the hell they want because they're not in compliance at that point. But like I said, sometimes their contract is signed so much where the company, in fact, owns their legal body. So whatever they say in any television show, any news or radio broadcasting, and if it has nothing to do with their contract which they signed, they're going to jail. Because the company now believes that they own their body. Whatever they say that comes out of their mouth, it better be censored, and it better be censored to what the company wants. So that's what we have today. It's a very diabolic corporation entity, period. And the reason why this stuff is keep on going, Emmanuel, and the reason why they're doing so good is because the people love it. The people love it. You know, they love dancing around on the stage. They love playing their guitars. They just love it.
And they love seeing Pastor Chris and those guys on with their fancy suits and expensive watches and their new hairstyles, just dancing on stage and shouting on top of their lungs, right?
Yeah, they love it. You know, and like I said, you know, if you, a reporter said this other day, if you can go up to the stage and tell the people what they believe to be true is true, they will love you for it. They'll support you. They'll give you money. They'll give you everything. So
which is exactly what's happening now.
That's what we have today. It's just that simple. It might not be the truth. It might not be the full truth. I'm not trying to say that what they're saying is not the truth. It's just saying that it's distorted. You could tell it's distorted. You know, when somebody tells you the real truth, oh my God, it will hurt you. You know,
the truth does hurt.
It will hurt you psychologically. It will hurt you emotionally. Hurt you in all aspects. Because that's the full dose. You know, that's the full dose. It's like trying a full dose of medicine. You're gonna feel it. All your body's gonna feel it. But if they give you 20%, only half your body or a quarter of your body's gonna feel it. So that's what I tell people today. In order for you to get the real message, in order for you to get the real reaction, you gotta see the real picture. Right? It's like, yeah, it's just that simple. You know, it's like a woman walking down a street, and one woman has clothes on, and the other woman doesn't. Right? There's gonna be two different reactions. It might be the same woman, but there's different reactions. Why? Because there's different views you're looking at.
Exactly.
So exactly. So that's why in media they make females look a certain way, because it's not about how she looks. It's about the reaction that she's getting from the look. And that is what creates commerce, because like I said, through that reaction, then the pituitary glands and the mirror transmitters are being fired, and that right there is that right there propels the commerce. Period. Right. Just that sex reaction feeling propels the individual, which is most likely going to be a man that has the big pocket money, the bigger checks, to propel him to pay for commerce. It's just commerce.
That is commerce, yeah.
It's just that simple. That's why when you go, that's why they even have restaurants where women are have little to no clothes on. It's not because the fact is that they want to dress like that. It's because it creates business. It's good business. Don't take it personal. It's just business. If the girl doesn't want to take her clothes off, well, I'll go find another job. It's just business. Don't take it personal. We just want to make money.
Exactly.
Are you with us or you're not? You want the job or you don't?
Wow.
So that's what we have today. But other than that, we can go for this for hours. But I think we should leave it at this and then just wrap it up. But just for us to wrap this up, I just want people to really understand that Jesus said it the best. By their fruits you shall know them. So don't take to heart, to consciousness, or to even thought what somebody says. Really understand, what is this person really doing? Who is this person really? By their fruits you shall know them. Think about it.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So you can wrap it up, or
yeah, we're reaching the end of our show here, and you've answered all of my questions very well, and I'm very satisfied with your answers, and I have no more questions to ask you.
All right. Well, viewers, as you can see, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for another segment and show from Pyramid Giza, Truth and Spiritual Ministries. Have a good day.
All right, bye.